Welcome to Retire Your Way with ILG Financial. My name is Chase Lopez. This is Dave Lopez, and we're both investment advisor representatives with ILG Financial. And today, we're going to talk about taxation in retirement. And boy, it can be treacherous, for lack of a better term, can it, Dave?
That's what you say. I call it a can of worms, right? So there's a lot of moving parts.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is that think about when you're getting ready for retirement. Think age 16 when you get your first life-saving job, or you're working at the 7-Eleven or something, wherever your first job was. You know, right up until this precipice of you entering retirement, your working years. How your tax is pretty straightforward, isn't it? You get a paycheck, then you get a W-2, and you report it on your tax. You don't have any say. It's your tax based on the rules.
Right.
There's not a lot of leeway or a lot of things you can do. There's a few things, but that's for a different video, right? But now you hit retirement and you're not getting a paycheck.
Right.
So your income's coming from different places, which means you have some control over how things are taxed, depending on which investment bucket you withdraw from, or what other income streams, pensions, Social Security checks, you know, however the different money's coming in. And the taxes are all over the map.
They're all just a little bit different for each one, right?
Oh, goodness gracious. They're all completely different.
Right.
And if you need to know, that's what the point, I guess, of today is, right? You need to know that there's all these moving pieces and different ways that your money can be taxed, because year to year, there will be different ways we would recommend you withdraw money if you needed it to try to maximize your money and minimize the tax hit. Now, let's give you just one example to paint a picture of kind of what we're talking about. Would that be a good way to do this?
Absolutely.
So let's just say that Chase here is in retirement and he has some money. He's got 3 income streams. Let's talk about that way, right? You've got a Social Security check, you've got a really small pension coming in from your former employer, and then you're taking a withdrawal from your retirement account, your IRA. If you want to know more about IRAs, check out our other videos. We talk about IRAs and inheriting them and all of that stuff, and we've done some podcasts on them, right? So IRA withdrawal, he's getting a small pension, right? And you're getting, what was the other one? A Social Security check, right? And let's say because of that, we do the math, and Chase is in what we call a 22% federal tax rate. You'll hear this all the time from people saying, I'm in the 20% rate or the 22% rate. And I would just very quickly explain what that really means, that they're not really paying 22%.
Well, yeah, so if you're in the 22% tax bracket, that doesn't mean all of your income's taxed at 22%, right? Some of it's taxed at no tax, some of it's taxed at 10%, so on and so forth. But what that means is...
like a stair step.
Exactly.
Okay.
So any additional money that you take in above, in my example, the 3 income streams, that would be taxed at the 22% bracket, since that's the bracket that we're in.
Yeah, anything above, right? So it's like the tip of the ice cream cone. The new money coming in will be at 22, and if you take out too much, you might go up into another level and be at the next level, which is right now, it could be 24 or 25, depending on the taxes at the time you're watching this video. Make sense? So our point is, let's say Chase is just gone into this 22% tax bracket, and Chase wants to go on a camping trip, and he says, Dave, you want to go? And I said, no, I don't want to go on the trip. So Chase and his wife go on this camping trip. They have a great time, and it costs $1,500, so he withdraws $1,500 from his IRA, and he goes, okay, I've done the math.
Right.
What would your math be? Say
So what did we just talk about, right? 22%, so there would be roughly $330, right?
Yeah, so $1,500 withdrawal. Chase does the math. I'm in the 22% bracket. That's $330 in taxes.
Right.
I'll walk away with about $1,200 roughly for the camping trip.
Right.
And he's very happy. I've got $1,200. Would it surprise you to know that he could very well be in the situation that he's not paying $330 in taxes, but he may very well pay over $640 in taxes on that $1,500, which comes out to like 45% federal tax instead of 22. Yes.
Right.
Chase is surprised.
Shocked, really.
And so how can that be, right? Here's what we're talking about the moving parts. And I think this does a good example, right? What happens here is you have that, you're in the 22% bracket, so he does have to pay that 33, but because he's now recorded more income, he may trigger some other, what we call stealth taxes. So give us an example of some stealth taxes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So if you hit a certain threshold, and it's important for everyone to know, these rules, they can change daily, right? Yearly, these rules are always rewritten, but what ends up happening is you trigger a certain income level, and now instead of 50% of my Social Security being taxed, now 85% of my Social Security is taxed.
So let me backtrack.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this. When you get a Social Security check, it's not just all taxed like
Right.
if you worked at your job.
Right.
The government has said, hey, depending on how much money you make, and there's a whole calculation, it's called
Provisional income.
Provisional income. It's another calculation, which we won't get into in this video, but it's how they calculate how much money you're taxed on for Social Security purposes. It's a completely different calculation than what you're used to on your taxes,
Exactly.
which is adjusted gross income. So
Right.
don't get caught up with all these words. All we're saying is that when you take a withdrawal, this $1,500 that Chase in this example is doing, and he's old and retired at this point, right? Or maybe not old, but retired.
Right.
Okay, but now that $1,500 may trigger, because the Social Security, depending on how much you earn, you're either not taxed on your Social Security at all, or you may be taxed on only half. So if Chase has got a $2,000 Social Security check, for tax purposes, he only may be taxed on half or $1,000.
Right.
Or the third current bracket, as of this recording, is 85% of his Social Security is taxed, right? So if he had $2,000, almost $1,700
Right.
would be considered income for his taxes, not the whole $2,000.
Right.
That's what we mean by a portion of your Social Security is taxed.
Right. So in that example, that extra $1,500 that I took out for that amazing camping trip ended up triggering that additional income for Social Security.
And here's what's insidious about that. Unlike kind of the other stuff we talked about, with this extra hit on your Social Security, you go $1 over.
Exactly.
$1 over, and it means that now Social Security, your entire $2,000 a month for 12 months, it's $24,000 is now taxed at 85% versus 50%, in addition to your little $330.
Exactly. Not only that, right? So that's Social Security, right? If we can trigger a certain point, we can trigger having more of our Social Security taxed. Well, there's also a second trigger. You can actually trigger and have too much income, and your Medicare premiums actually go up.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a minute. For those of you who haven't turned on Medicare or aren't familiar with it, that's the government's program once you hit 65 for health insurance, basically. Right, and it covers most things, not all, which is why other people get additional insurance. If you heard the term Medicare supplement or Medicare sup, that's just augments Medicare.
Right.
Okay, we're not going to talk about that tonight, but we'll do that in a future video. Medicare supplement policies and Medicare. But Medicare in particular is broken into different parts. Part A, which covers your hospital stays and a few other things, is free. Right. Part B covers your doctor visits, your co-pays for the doctors, lab work, and you have deductibles and all that goes with regular insurance on that. You pay for that, or pay a sub-part of that out of your Social Security check. As of this recording, it's about $170 a month for you to pay for it.
Right.
And then there's other parts, like D is prescription drug, which you pay for. But today, let's just talk about Part B.
Right.
Okay, so you're paying $170 that covers Part A and Part B, because A is free.
Right.
To Chase's point, now what happens with maybe that $1,500 withdrawal? What could happen?
Right. You could now trigger a what they call a Medicare surcharge. Right. Am I right?
That's
Dave?
right. Yeah. In fact, I need my glasses for this one. So you're as of this recording, about $170 a month is your Medicare Part B.
Right.
If you hit this trigger at a certain income level, it goes from $170 to $238 a month. So rough math, that's what, $68 a month.
Right.
Great. So now we're at over $700 extra a year. So think of that as an extra $700 tax on top of your $330 income tax.
Right.
If you trip the Medicare.
Yep. And it's important for people to know it works progressively, just like the tax code, right? So the more income that you have coming in, the more that they add onto that Medicare surcharge.
The next jump is $340 and up and up and up. The top one is, for people really pulling in money in retirement, $578 a month for your Medicare versus $170.
Right.
Now, again, the point is you only have to be $1 over the threshold,
Right.
and it would trigger that extra, what would we say, $60 a month?
$60 a month.
Or $700 tax bill for the whole year.
Yep.
Because you withdrew $1. So in theory, forget $1,500 withdrawal. Chase could have withdrawn $1 if he was at the wrong spot and no one told him, and it could have triggered $700. Or on Social Security, what did we figure the difference was? A 50 and 85% difference in taxes. These are what we call stealth taxes. And how do you know?
Right.
Well, you have to have a comprehensive, thought-out income plan. So when it's time to pull out extra money, you know that there's pitfalls. You don't have to know what they are, but you want to be with an advisory firm that specializes in retirement planning. Right, that is aware of these things, so we can look at, before you do the withdrawal, our client would call us and say, Chase, I want to take $1,700 out to go camping with my wife.
Right.
What account should I take it out of? And am I going to trigger any stealth tax? And we could do some quick calculations and say, don't do it this year, or take it from an account that's not taxed, and let's take it in January. There's a lot of fixes if you do it in advance.
Exactly, and really that's kind of the big takeaway today, I would say, is whenever you're thinking of taking money out of these accounts, recording more income, once we get into retirement and once you have turned on Social Security, there's a ton of things that go into making these withdrawals, and they really do have to be very thought out, very planned, so that we don't trigger any of these extra stealth taxes, to your point. And really, I wanted to butt in is we had an example of this in our office, right, where the big conversation that a lot of people are having is what's called Roth conversions. And real briefly, just to give a little bit of background on what Roth conversions are, we did a whole nother video on that. Right. But it essentially is turning your traditional retirement accounts into Roth accounts and paying the taxes to do that. Well, what people don't know is that gets recorded as income, and that can, even though you're not taking actual physical income from that money, it can actually trigger some of these stealth taxes. And it's really imperative whenever you're making these decisions to meet with a financial professional to see how all these stealth taxes are going to be affected by that.
Yeah, you want to know in advance what the tax hit's going to be.
Exactly. So thank you all for joining us again. Hit the subscribe button down below, hit the thumbs up so that you can stay in the loop with all of our future videos, and we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.